Dr. Jill letting Joe out for a night. Unsupervised, former President Joe Biden whispering, shouting, and making shocking racial gaffes during his first public speech since piecing out of the White House.
Thank you. It's never been this divided. Granted, it's roughly 30%, but it's a 30% that has no heart. That's what the legislation is about. It's about dignity, simple dignity. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. I'd never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time and I was only going in 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by.
Harold, does that bother you when he says colored kids like that?
No, because he was saying that's what they were called. I mean, in fairness to him, I think that is what, unfortunately, we have an ugly history in our country around that. But I said yesterday, I respect the daylights out of him. I appreciate with a great deal of gratitude the enormous amount of service he gave our country, including serving as president. He lost children while in office. He lost his wife. He has suffered a lot and gave a lot. But I think when he's talking about these issues, it signals and maybe suggests to the country that Democrats have run out of leadership or run out of ideas or run out of people to offer these things. As much as he has every right to say these things, I don't think it serves the body politic for Democrats for him to be a face and a voice for the party right now. And I wish him well, and I hope that he decides to take a seat for a while and let some new voices emerge.
So, Dana, he'd laid low for a while, and this was the big public speech we were all waiting for. How do you think it went?
Not great. I would say not great. It might be Easter week, but Christmas came early for the Trump White House because the fact that this is something that we are leading, or not leading, but we have it at the top of our show on the 5, and it's the second day in a row that we're talking about Joe Biden. That can't be helpful to the Democrats. You got Van Hollen headed to El Salvador, and Biden giving a speech. I mean, what's next? Cory Booker's going to give another 25-hour speech that nobody remembers. President Biden would probably be better off saying nothing, going home, and being quiet, and not reminding everybody about, one, all the things that we're having to deal with now, like letting all the illegals in and then having to do due process one by one in order to get them out. I think Rachel Morin's mom talked very passionately about why that matters and that the long-term effect of this, of what it could be, what moms and dads across the country could face if we don't get the criminals out. So I think Biden, I don't really care what Biden does necessarily, but my advice would be, if you actually want your poll numbers to go up and your name to have some sort of reputational rehabilitation, I would go home.
You know, Greg, these are private speeches. He's getting paid. You don't have to let cameras in.
Yeah.
He wanted these cameras in.
Yeah. Between Van Hollen and Biden, I feel like this is Ass Wednesday. My guess is that he booked this. This was booked probably a year in advance before the Dems knew he was totally brain dead. He actually spoke before advocates for people with disabilities. And after the speech, they were like, wow, even we can't help him. It was really bad, although it was a relief when he spoke over Bruce Springsteen because he sounds terrible. But what got me was when he was talking about division in this country. That's like the View coming out against Pi. He fomented division with his relentless pushing of the Fine People hoax. He portrayed Trump voters as dark and evil white supremacists any chance he got. He fostered a cult of identity politics that even within the Democratic Party pit group against group. I mean, what can Joe come out against next? Nepotism? Try that one, you turd. It's the same. By the way, he tells the same stories over and over again. It's not just the words that he uses. It's the stories. And the narrative is white people are racist except for me. You know, even when I was a child, I was so enlightened and I was so brave. But we all know it was BS because whenever he's off the cuff, he says commonly bigoted things about Indian people. It is just amazing. I want him to keep going. I want him to keep going. Go, Joe.
He's not going to stop, Judge. He's going to be out speaking the whole year.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Who is the only person, the one person who has something to gain by Joe Biden going out there? Party doesn't want him. They want him off, and that nobody wants him center stage. It's Jill. Okay. And, the idea that he would actually come out and speak to a group of about disabilities is just rich. But to come to something a little more substantive, he slammed President Trump about Social Security. He said the president was plotting to cut and gut Social Security. The 30% of the country has no heart. That's us, of course, which is, a duplication of his soul of, the Soul of America speech with the military guys in the dark red behind him when he gave that speech where he said we're all MAGA extremists. The amazing part of it is that it was Joe Biden who saw the biggest increase in the number of immigrants given Social Security numbers, more than 2 million immigrants given Social Security numbers, illegals in 2024. And that doesn't even touch the destruction that he did to Medicaid, which allows virtually all illegals to get Medicaid. And he's turning it around and saying that Donald Trump is going to cut it. He's such a liar.
Donald Trump's going to cut taxes on Social Security. Maybe that's what he was confused about.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.